Horses. Hang on.
Luisa,
Hello.
how are you?
I am good. How are you?
I'm a lot better now that I'm seeing your face.
Well, thank you.
How's your day been going?
Good. It's raining outside, which is
Yeah.
weird.
Yes. Yes. And it was when I looked out the window a little earlier, it was like some little mini hail pellets. It
Yep.
looked like
Yep. Which is weird. It's
typical Colorado, right?
I mean, if it's not bipolar, is it really Colorado?
Touche, touche. All right. So, firstly, Luisa, thank you so much for making the time for this. Incredible.
You're welcome.
All right. So when I spoke with JJ yesterday, he was telling me how you went in on Sunday and you were bored because you had no classes to teach.
I did nothing on Sunday. It was like the most obnoxious thing ever. I just sat there and I'm like, why am I here? Like, legitimately, like I didn't do anything.
Why did you
Uh,
go?
because JJ wanted me to go, so I went. Well, and also, like, I didn't show up on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So I was like, well, okay. I mean, I haven't been for half of the week. Like, I need to, like bring in the bacon, I guess. I don't know. I just figured I haven't been in, I need to be in. And so that's why I went. But yeah, no, that's entertaining.
See, and the bacon is still coming in. That's the beauty of it.
That's true. Yeah. But still, it's weird. Like I mean, I'm not mad at it, but also it's weird being here and not having anything happen.
Nothing to do. Oh man.
No, like I was telling JJ, I was so bored. I actually went and looked at the Google reviews that we had and I basically counted them out. So there's like an entire like spreadsheet now that has like how many like likes and reviews people have. I was bored. Listen, I looked for, you know, read
No,
all
but
the things.
and that's the point. Like we've been speaking about this lately because you and JJ have gotten back so much more of your time. You get to redistribute it in other ways. So that that tracking that you put together is valuable and necessary and stuff that you haven't necessarily had the time to focus on in the past.
Yeah.
So like it's important for us to continue to be looking for even more of those opportunities to grow the business by not being in it, right?
Yep.
Those things do help it grow for sure. For sure. Knowing what people are saying about us and having it all organized.
Yep. Well, and I think that's the thing is like I also forget too that people actually do like us. I mean, I know they like us, but like I don't look at the Google reviews the way I should. And so just like taking the time to read them and realizing that, now for certain people we're on dog number 2. That's kind of huge, to see like, hey, not only did we do all of the stuff with you the first time, now we're on dog number 2 and you still like us. So, yay, we're doing something right. So, yeah.
Absolutely incredible. Oh man. So rewinding back to the beginning of your journey with Zoom Room, um, amongst all of the franchises that are available, what made you and JJ go with Zoom Room?
Why we went with Zoom Room of all
Mm-hmm.
places.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think it was the choice between Zoom Room and a yoga studio, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of said that if we're going to get into something, I wanted to be able to teach some of the classes. And I feel like um, if it had been a yoga studio, I would not have been able to pretzelize myself the way, like effectively. Um, and Yeah, there's something about that that just didn't work for me. And wanting to do something that I could put my hands in. And then dog training, there's just a million different ways that you can, train a dog. Um, there's no right or wrong way. There's a better way and there's a definitely bad way, but um, there definitely is a million different ways to do the training. And I liked positive reinforcement. I feel like that's one of those things where I've seen the difference that it can make in a dog. If they truly, have only been trained positively, they will only, they don't even question when you ask them to do something for you. They'll just do it because they want to. Which
And what does positive reinforcement actually mean to you besides that last piece that you just shared, as far as them wanting to do what you've asked them to do?
um it's very much so you ask your dog to do something, and when they do, you reward them with a treat or with, a scratch on the back of the head or whatever. Um, but you're essentially working on your relationship with your dog in a way that they trust you fully. And they don't question, what you're doing. Actually, we were talking about that yesterday because we had one client that came in and her dog bit her husband, and I was telling her, um, like there's things that we can get away with doing as humans to our dogs that other people can't do, if
Right,
especially if they haven't trained with their dog the way that we have.
right.
Right. And what I was showing her was like, I was like, I had Grim and I was putting my hand in his mouth and I'm looking at his teeth. And I'm like, see, I can do this. And yes, I can totally do that because I have that relationship with him, as opposed to, hey, you're going to bend to my will and you're going to do what I say when I say, because I say. And that's not, I mean, it is a way to do training, but long term, you have a dog that won't necessarily always trust you, as opposed to the dog that's like, hey, I love you. You're my person. I will do whatever you want me to do because you asked me to. And that's the
Right.
difference. I say that
Now,
as my dog is moving me around.
so to that point, for the person that has a dog and doesn't really know what you're describing personally as a personal experience, how is positive reinforcement more effective than using a shock collar, for example?
So I like to say like 3 or 4 years ago, they had two dogs, and both of their humans basically recalled the dogs to them. Basically, dog far away. They asked their dog, Fido, come. The dog that had been used an e-collar on thought about it for a second, like considered its options, like, oh, must I really come to you now that you called me? The dog that was only trained positively, human called, the dog didn't even think about it, just came immediately to their human. Um, those couple of seconds are the question of life and death in certain situations. So it makes for a dog that is more willing to come to you, and that won't necessarily question because they're like, oh, there nothing bad has ever happened to me if I have listened to my human, as opposed to aversive training where they they think about it, they consider their options, they decide whether or not it is worth their time to come to you. And ultimately that's, the difference between, hey, my dog is going to come regardless.
Right.
There's, a mountain lion coming at us, on a trail. Dog's like, oh yeah, let's go. And dog that's like, I don't know, let's talk about it. And then it becomes a whole thing. And then you have to go to the vet and it's an emergency situation. It's a whole thing. So that's to me a good way to explain it, in ways that like there's not real consequences to it, but definitely positive versus aversive is quite different for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, there are multiple different kinds of dog training facilities and businesses, and Zoom Room has its own strategy and approach to training animals. But within that, you and JJ have even more of a more concentrated focus and culture that y'all have established within your gym. What are like, how would you describe the Zoom Room Colorado Springs experience to someone that has been getting drugged by their dog every single time that they take them to walk, or they're barking uncontrollably, or doing the things that dogs tend to do?
Um, we kind of take the dogs as they are. So same as you wake up and you get out of bed and you're having a crappy day, dogs are the same way. They have good days, they have bad days. Trying to dwell on what happened to your dog like 5 months ago or 5 years ago is not necessarily the right approach. I know that we always look at dogs from the perspective of how are we doing today? What are we willing to do? Um, how much work are they willing to put into, whatever training session that they're putting in with us? We come at it from a very holistic approach, meaning that we look at the entirety of the situation. We look at the dog, how they're doing that day, what they're willing to put in work wise. But like I always talk about the sun and the moon and the stars. Last night, for example, we had a full moon that, and not only just a full moon, but then we had a lunar eclipse, I think it was. So, I mean, that actually plays a huge role in dogs and how they behave. So we
How so?
actually,
How so?
um, I always threaten people when they do agility with me on full moon nights so that I'm going to charge them double because their dogs have forgotten all of their manners. Um, and I say that and it's a joke, but it's also not really a joke because it's like their wild side takes over more than it would normally. So if they act a certain way normally, they're going to act completely differently on full moon nights. So I don't know how to explain it. It's like if you talk to somebody that's in law enforcement or even in a healthcare provider, they'll tell you like those are days where we do not want to come into work, but we have to because we got to keep people safe. Dogs are kind of the same way. So yes, we come at them with the the intent to make the relationship between the human and their dog a lot more um, pleasant, so to speak. So that they're coming at sometimes it's I like to reframe things for people.
Mhm.
Look at it from the dog's perspective. I think as humans, we like to look at our own navels, and we're very in touch with our emotions, but we're not necessarily always um, in touch with other animals' emotions. So I'm very much the person that's like, oh, let's talk about you know this dog's relationship and why we're doing what we're doing, and like let's see if we can change it and look at it from a different perspective. So I think
Right.
that's how we're different for sure. I know I talk about that all the time. I'm always like, no, let's look at it from your dog's perspective because your perspective is one way to look at it, but dogs are very much in the moment, present things. They're not talking about like, oh well, somebody peed in my Cheerios this morning. They don't care. They're like, oh yeah, no, if it serves me now, this is now that I'm gonna, do the thing. So yeah.
Man, incredible, incredible. So for the human that is walking into your front door for the first time or calling you for the first time, can you talk me through what that experience actually looks like from the time that they're having that first contact to them actually experiencing the benefits of uh, getting their dogs on track through positive reinforcement?
Um, I think we try to come at it a um from an empathetic point of view. Meaning that, it's kind of like when you have health insurance, you pay for it and you hope that you never have to use it.
Right.
But then when you actually do use it, you need it to work pretty much immediately. Dog training sometimes takes a little bit longer than, hey, let's just take a handful of pills and go from there. But at least when people come in through my door, I always want to meet them where they're at and try and help them as much as possible, as quickly as possible and as best as possible. Some people were just not a good fit, and that's okay. We had somebody walk in yesterday and she talked to me for half an hour and we had nothing in common. And it's not that I don't want to help her, it's just that she's not she's not receptive to help. So as much as I may want to, like we have to have a meeting of minds essentially. Um,
Right.
and yeah, so I always come at it from hey, let me help you. And let's see how we can fix whatever your problem is. And sometimes it's just having a conversation where we're reframing our focus and where the dog is coming from, and making sure that we're all speaking the same language. Because if we're only looking at things from a human perspective, sometimes we're missing that dog perspective, which is the most important perspective, because we don't speak the same language.
Right, right. Man, so your orientations are 100% complementary. What value do orientations provide to to the humans that actually come in, and what does that experience look like?
So orientations typically take half an hour. They're human only. We kind of go over who we are, what we do, what our, kind of our um, rules and regulations are, for lack of better terms. But just so that we're making sure that we're all speaking the same language. I keep talking about language because I feel like that's important. But I want people that come in to have like a very clear understanding of what the boundaries are and what we're looking at, and what we want to happen and how our relationship is going to go. So we put a lot of emphasis on like, this is what to expect. This is how we're going to help you, and try and explain what that path looks like for them. Um,
Hold on. Did you hear me? I think we
yeah, I can
froze.
hear you. I'm still here.
Okay, cool. All right,
Okay.
cool.
But anyway, so yes, it's definitely trying to make sure that we're all speaking the same language, and that what they can expect from us. And knowing from the get-go what to expect is made a lot of relationships either really clear or have basically made us walk away from relationships. I think as a business owner, there is nothing harder, especially when you're hungry, to walk away from money. That is one of those things where it's really, really hard. I know it took me forever to try to keep things going, you know, with somebody that it was not going to be a perfect fit, or a good fit. And now I'm very much like, hey, this isn't going to work out. Please don't stay here. You know, like, we're not going to be happy. You're not going to be happy. I'm not going to be happy. And it's not, you know, it's not good for either one of us. So
Right.
I like that. And I think that a lot of different business owners don't necessarily value their time and their energy in that respect. And I think it's a shame. I think we should all respect our time and energy, and value that, you know, if we're not working 100% towards making the business better, then, you know, it's not worth your time.
Right. 100%. So you mentioned at the beginning of our conversation how you felt a little guilty, and it motivated you to go in on Sunday because you had 3 days off last week. Uh, how how many hours were you averaging prior to some of these things kind of coming into place to really intentionally develop the team? And kind of what was a day in the life like prior to?
Good God. The first year we were open, we were here, we would open the store at around 10:30, and we would probably leave the store at anywhere from 9 to 9:30, sometimes 10. So we're talking 12-hour days. I do not miss those days, if I'm being honest. And because especially in the beginning, we worked 7 days a week. So, you know, you're basically burning the candle at both ends, and you're trying to keep giving from an empty cup, which is not helpful for anyone. And as we've grown, we've brought different team members on, and they've helped kind of keep us more accountable for what, you know, like, hey, you can't be here for 12 hours. This is ridiculous. You please go home. You know, and we have those conversations with them, but they also have those conversations with us where they're like, hey, listen, like when last Wednesday, I had, like, Monday and Tuesday, I had migraines. So I was basically useless to everybody, still working, still doing, you know, like my job, but I wasn't 100%. And so, because of how the team was set up that day, nobody basically could come in and relieve me. So on Wednesday, they're like, you don't have to be here. Please don't be here. Like, go take care of yourself. Go take a nap. Not gonna lie, Wednesday I slept all day. I did absolutely nothing. I was useless. But it was I needed that. And I think having a team in place now where I don't have to come in, where, you know, if I don't come in, the bacon doesn't get made, right?
Right.
Or the
Right.
sausage doesn't get made, whatever
Right.
analogy you want to put on there. But definitely it's really nice to be able to not have to be here all the time. And that's been really rewarding. And I'm very thankful for that, if I'm being honest, because I can walk away and I can do nothing for 24 hours, and the world will not have exploded. And it felt like the world would have exploded in the past. And now that's not the case anymore. So that's nice.
Right. Man. So um the because you were when we first started, you were paying for a bookkeeper, but you also still had a lot of work that you had to do. How has it been for that piece to shift where you're getting all of the data every week without having to do all of the running back and forth that you that you had to do before? Like, how was that before to now?
I mean, it's a whole different ballgame, right? Because before, I would get long emails saying, hey, you purchase this, you purchase this, you purchase this. I need receipts for all these things. I need to know what this is. And I'm like, well, like I got gas from, whatever, Costco. Yeah, I'm always going to get gas from that one particular place. Please don't ask me every single time. Like I had to have the conversation of like, hey, I love you, but stop asking me every single week, like where I got my gas from. It's always the same spot. It hasn't changed. Um, so it's given me extra time back in my day where I can concentrate on stuff that truly matters as opposed to, doing the boring stuff. Accounting definitely is not my jam. It is something that you have to do as a business owner. It's not because you want to do it. It's a legal requirement of having a business. It is definitely not the fun thing. If you ask me what 1 + 1 equals, I will tell you 3, not 2, because I don't math. Math is not my jam. That's why I'm a dog trainer. So having somebody take care of that piece of the puzzle for me is really helpful and is really nice because then I don't have to devote energy on something that I don't necessarily care to, if that makes
Right,
sense.
right. And can you share how we were able to catch that fraud so quickly and take action?
Yeah, so you basically told me that there was a um um something that had popped up on one of our accounts, and what is it? What's it for? And then I started looking into it and I'm like, I don't know what this is. So I went and reached out to the bank, and within 24 hours, we had put a stop payment and recovered that money back into the account, which was pretty great, not gonna lie. And it's kind of really nice, when especially when you work so hard for your money and then somebody takes it out of your account and they're like, ha ha, took it. And you're like, no, no, that's not fair. That's not right. So being able to get that money back was definitely nice. Yeah.
Right, right. So, what would you tell a business owner that feels that they're working harder and harder each day, but just don't feel like they're getting nowhere?
They're not doing it right. Um, no, I mean, because the thing is, like I was talking earlier about burning the candle at both ends, right? In the beginning, when you start a business, you have so much on your plate because the fate of your business basically is solely on your shoulders, and you're hoping that the people that are with you on the ride are there and have your best interests at heart, and that they definitely want to see you succeed. Um, and that's true from some people, and it's true, and it's not necessarily true from others, right? Um, I know even within our entire network, there's definitely some people that are like, well, you didn't do as much as I did, yesterday. And it's like, well, who cares? Like, your store is not the same as my store. We're not the same. And um, having somebody that kind of can refocus what we're doing so that we're actually putting our time and effort in something that actually matters and is valuable is definitely helpful, because sometimes we don't realize that we're not necessarily always doing the right, or we think we're doing the right thing, and sometimes it's not. We're focused on stuff that doesn't ultimately matter. So having somebody help refocus our efforts is definitely necessary and helpful.
Right. So, I tried marriage and I failed at it. It is hard. And what could make marriage even harder is doing business with your spouse. So, how has it been to how has it affected your working relationship with JJ for y'all to have clearer roles and responsibilities?
Um, So I posted the other day, you saw that on Facebook,
Mhm.
that he and I have been married for 23 years now. And the joke is that I have not murdered him in the past 23 years. It's kind of a joke, but it's also kind of not, in the sense that working with your spouse is either a really great thing or it's a really bad thing. And not having clear boundaries and knowing which avenue is yours and fully yours, definitely is one of those things where I'm thankful that we have clear cut lines and that we know, like, hey, this is mine, no touchy. And I do look at it in those terms of like the no touchy, because that is definitely something that, if everyone's going down the same avenue, then nobody's really taking full accountability for what they're doing. As opposed to, if it's just yours, then if something goes sideways, it's your fault. It's not somebody else's. So
Right.
that's kind of.
Right. Now, as the foundation to our meeting each week is the war board.
I lost you. Yeah, I can't hear you.
Okay, you hear me now? Can you
I
hear me?
can hear you now. Now I can hear
Okay,
you.
beautiful. So, um, again, the foundation at the foundation of our meeting each week is the war board, where we're looking at all of the stats from last week and comparing that to the prior week and the month and the quarter and last year, etc. How has having that type of insight from a data perspective impacted how you view your business?
So you know me, you know that whatchamacallit, data is not necessarily my favorite, but it's important to know where we stand, because then we can make more informed decisions as to where, like where our money can go and how we can play with things. And knowing, oh, we have, say, $5,000 extra that we can play with. Well, $5,000 that you can play with, that's not nothing. Is it a lot of money? No, but it's not nothing either. And knowing where and what you can use it for is also very helpful. So I think knowing exactly where the data points are, is also like nice. And I keep track of stuff a little bit differently than you do, but I can also, say like, oh, this month historically hasn't been great for us. Let's see how we can change it, how we can make things better for us. So just knowing what the data points are is definitely helpful for sure.
Right. So, what makes it difficult for you to, because you're talking with business owners as well. So, what makes it difficult for you to, when you see somebody that's struggling, to make a referral to us here at Bullseye, and what would make that easier?
Um, I think a lot of times when your business is in trouble, you don't necessarily um want to spend more money to make to get you out of the hole, right? We've been fortunate that we've never truly been, in trouble, so to speak. Um, but I think it's one of those things where it's important to be able to pull yourself out of something. I've seen quite a lot of people that are like, no, I don't necessarily want to help my business because I don't have the money, blah, blah, blah. But if you look at it in terms of you're helping your business thrive and do better, it's a better bang for your buck than just trying to do the same thing over and over, and hoping for a different solution and outcome. So sometimes, yeah, it's just reframing things and looking at things better. And I do send people your way. I try to send people your way, but like sometimes people just also don't want to be helped. And if they don't want to be helped, I can't, I can't chew it for you. Um, I can try, but ugh, please don't. Like I think that's definitely a thing.
For sure, for sure. So with all of because it's not our relationship isn't one in which we meet every week and it's just rainbows and stars and
Oh
never
no.
any contention, right?
Yeah, no, you and I go at it every once in a while.
Right? Because it's a symbiotic relationship,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
like JJ described it, we hold each other accountable.
Yep.
So through all of the conversations that we've had and some of the key things that you've taken away from from those conversations, if you could go back to the beginning of your Zoom room experience when y'all were having those 12-hour days and tell yourself anything, what would that be?
Um, Honestly, I would probably have me start working with you a lot sooner. Um, because even though in the beginning it was hard and it was definitely an investment in the business, um, it has also given us all of this time back. And time in our family to me was more important than whatever paycheck or lack of money coming in or not coming in was happening. Because to me, that's ultimately the reason why we're doing this, right? Is to be independent and not have to worry about our next paycheck. That is definitely, and then spending time with our kid. Like I have a 14-year-old. I feel like we're only now starting to reconnect because we have more time, and that's important. I tell people I only have one pancake and I can't mess him up. So he's my one kid, so I have to make sure that I do spend as much time as possible with him for as long as I can because he's also 14, and mom and dad are not the end all be all anymore. And we like to spend time with our friends and do stuff that has nothing to do with us anymore. And so it's important to me to reclaim, you know, my family back and my time. So yes.
Incredible. Well, Louisa, again, you know, you already know, like I could sit and talk with you all day, but thank you,
You're
thank you, thank you for making this time and having a conversation.
Of course. And now I'm going to go work on my skill flex because apparently I need to do that. And if I don't do it, you're going to kill me. So there you go. See, you give me homework, I'll do it. Take me
So
five
what
months. But
actually, well, let's talk about that for a second then. So from your perspective, what is the skills flex and what value does it bring to what it is that we're doing?
it's basically writing down what our expectations are of our team. And what we expect from them, and what on a scale of 1 to 4, 5, or 5, like where they're supposed to be, where we want them to be, and how we can get them to where we want them to be. Um, it's it's a lot of work. It's not my favorite, but I understand it's again, it's getting back time because the expectations are very clear and they're well defined, and it's not a hey, I didn't know, you didn't tell me, sort of a thing. So when clear boundaries are set and clear expectations are set, it makes things a lot easier for everybody involved. So yeah.
100%, 100%. Well, Louisa, I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. You have an amazing remainder of your afternoon, and I'll see you then.
All right.
All
Bye.
right. Thank you.